Willie D live.
What's up, family? It is time for the rest of the world to move on from the United States. Hear me out. On February 28th, the United States and Israel launched a war on Iran. The U.S.-Israeli attacks came without prior warning or approval by the United Nations and targeted and killed Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Just 2 months earlier, the U.S. launched attacks on Venezuela, in which its special forces kidnapped Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro from his residence in Caracas and transferred him to New York, where he faces criminal charges in federal court. In between these two violent attacks, U.S. President Donald Trump, your president, withdrew from 66 international organizations, including 31 UN entities, and launched the Board of Peace, a new institution he chairs personally that he suggested might replace the UN. These and other developments in recent years demonstrate that the world order the US helped establish in 1945 no longer serves its interest or even the interest of these other countries. Now, if you look at the other countries, the US for a long time has been saying these other countries need to invest more in the countries that need help, right? For years, the US has been the guarantor for the rest of the world. But it's not like the US did it out of the goodness of its heart. Everything the US has ever done has always been for self-gain. It has never been to liberate no group of people. The United States don't even want its people in the United States liberated. So common sense would tell you they're not going overseas liberating nothing. It's all about resources. The United States makes no deal with nobody unless it gets something significantly in return. And hey, fair exchange ain't robbery. But I detest the narrative that America is this country that has this bleeding heart who wants to go out and save the world. No, America wants to police the world. America wants to be the world police. It does not want to be the world's savior. It does not want to be the world's hero. It wants to be the world's police. And that means control. And for a long time, these countries have depended on the United States because of the United States' economic powers, but also its military powers. Well, if you notice how the United States get down, the United States has never had an enemy who was not first its friend. Now, what does that tell me? Imagine you, okay, fam, let's put yourself in the shoes of, let's say, a friend to a friend, right? Let's put yourself in the shoes of somebody who has another person who claims to be their friend. What if, or wants to be their friend? What if this person who wants to be your friend had backstabbed and robbed and killed every friend he ever had, and now he wants to be your friend? Would you trust him? Give me a thumbs up if you trust him. Thumbs down if you say, nah, man, hell no. Mama didn't raise no fool. You see? So yeah. So yes, the United States has overextended itself internationally, but that is because the United States is greedy, and the United States wants action in every part of the globe. They want a military base on every part of the globe. They want some type of action everywhere because they want complete dominance. And all of these other countries in the UN has pretty much been going along to get along. They really haven't had a lot of power and a lot of say. It's like whatever the United States typically says goes. So the UN has pretty much been useless if you really think about it. Well, now that the United States is no longer part of the UN, the UN can all get together. All those countries can unite. Actually, now they can actually really call themselves the UN, and it actually be true. They can actually be united for global causes, and they can look out for each other. They can help each other out, and they can actually finally stand on their own and actually act like they got some balls. Because anybody that knows anything about the UN knows that the UN has been useless. I mean, think about it, fam. Look at what's been going on with Black people in America for decades since the UN has been established. And the UN has not once come to our defense. Not once has any of those damn nations held America accountable for its crimes against Black people. Not once. Not when they bombed. First of all, not for slavery, not for Jim Crow, not when they bombed our towns, not when they murdered people in the streets, not when the police just arbitrarily just murdering Black people, not for all the lynchings, nothing. None of those countries has ever come to our aid. So fuck them, all of them. But I can tell you this, if they want to have some real power, they should be okay with moving on without the United States. They should really consider this a blessing in disguise. Because if you look at that board of peace, Trump is the chairman. He got all these other nations to give him $1 billion to join it. He gets to control the money. He can spend the money however he sees fit because he has the last word. Everybody get a vote, but Trump's vote is more powerful than all of the other votes combined because he has the final word on how things go. A bunch of cowards who joined that board of peace, a bunch of cowards, because they're going to have even less power than those countries that are part of the UN. They basically have no power. They basically just gave Trump $1 billion for protection. That's really more like what that's for. And anybody who didn't give him $1 billion for protection, they gave him $1 billion to throw him off. Like, look, we're gonna give him this $1 billion, make it seem like we all down, we good with him, with everything. But we're gonna bait and switch him though. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna pull one of his numbers. We're gonna pull one of the US numbers. That's all that is, fam. So ultimately, that the UN, I do believe, will be better off. I think they'll be better off. And plus, it'll teach those nations to not be dependent on the United States' money, because it's a whole lot of compromising that go with taking anything from the United States. You take any kind of money from the United States, it's a lot come with that. You're going to have to compromise yourself. You're going to have to compromise your country. You got to compromise your people. And there's no way you can be comfortable with that unless you're already compromised. No more talk.